Okay. Raise your hand when you want, if you wanna read it, and I will call on you. Okay. Read objective 1. Gordon.
Describe U.S. involvement in Puerto Rico and in Cuba.
Okay, number 2. Tommy.
Identify causes and effects of the Philippine-American War.
Okay. Oh,
Explain the purpose of the open door policy in China.
go ahead.
Summarize the views regarding U.S. imperialism.
Okay. This is what we're learning today. Okay, list and describe 4 major options for the political status of Puerto Rico after the Spanish-American War. All right, who wants to read this one? Gordon, go ahead.
Sovereign independence and establishment of a republic. The complete and full recognition of the political sovereignty of the nation of Puerto Rico.
Okay. Dave, you want to read it? This one?
Semi-independence as a U.S.
Protectorate.
Protector.
category of political autonomy as a nation. Autonomy as a nation on the condition that the United States would intervene in the affairs of the country.
Okay.
And I'll read it. Annexation as a United States territory. The full claim of the geographical area of Puerto Rico as unincorporated organized territory with a permanent population.
Go ahead.
Incorporated statehood, full and complete incorporation of Puerto Rico into the United States as a sovereign and equal member under the Constitution.
Okay, so based on these options, what were we trying to do in Puerto Rico? What do you think we were doing?
Trying to like get them, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Trying to get them to become like part of the U.S. as like a, kind of like a state, but still sovereign, sort of, but
Okay.
under the protection of the Constitution.
Okay, Jordan?
I feel like the United States was trying to annex Puerto Rico as a territory,
Okay.
or have them as semi-independence as a protectorate.
Okay. We're gonna see in just a second what more about this, okay? All right. Identify the most well-known nationalist in Puerto Rico and notice preference for self-government in Puerto Rico. His name is Luis Munoz Rivera, and he lived in the United States from 1900 until 1916 and advocated for the establishment of the Republic of Puerto Rico. Okay, somebody who wants to pick up there. Go ahead.
On May 5th, 1916, Rivera delivered a speech in the U.S. House of Representatives, calling on the United States to establish a republic in Puerto Rico.
Okay, go ahead and read his quote.
When you acquire with certainty that you can found a republic in Puerto Rico, like that founded in Cuba and Panama, give us our independence. Then you can stand before humanity as a great creator of nationalities and a great liberator of oppressed peoples.
Okay, so do you think he really wanted the people in Puerto Rico to be part of the United States? What did he want? Go ahead, Jordan.
I don't think he wanted the people of Puerto Rico to be part of the United States, but I think he wanted them to learn how to govern themselves, and he wanted them to be their own independent peoples.
Good. Anybody else have an opinion on that?
Pretty much what he said.
Okay. Alright. Alright, describe the evolution of the political status of Puerto Rico with regard to its relations with the United States after the Spanish-American War. Okay, who wants to read this?
I'll read it.
Okay, go ahead.
Puerto Rico immediately came under the military rule of the United States with the invasion of U.S. troops under General Nelson Miles in 1998. The United States had full intention of controlling Puerto Rico due to its strategic importance and had never promised the independence of Puerto Rico to its people.
Okay. So, in other words, did we ever tell them they were gonna be independent?
Not really. We kind of like,
So why do you think we went in there? What were we looking for? Go ahead, Jordan.
An upper hand of some kind, like it says right there, some kind of strategic importance, maybe,
And what?
against like other European nations or maybe some South American nations.
Okay,
yeah.
okay. Who else to read this book? Go ahead.
However, in 1900, Congress passed the Foraker Act, which established a civil government in Puerto Rico, which replaced the military rule established during war.
Okay. List of major provisions of the Foraker Act of Joseph Foraker, which established a civil government in Puerto Rico. Okay, Jay, you wanna read? Somebody different take the first part.
Empowered
Go ahead, Jay.
empowered the President of the United States to appoint the Governor of Puerto Rico and the 11 members of the upper house of the legislature, called the Executive Council.
Puerto Ricans could freely elect the 35 members of the lower house of the legislature called the House of Representatives.
Okay. Brendan? You wanna take the next one?
Created and appointed Supreme Court and a United States District Court in Puerto Rico.
Okay.
Provided for an appointed resident commissioner of Puerto Rico, which was a non-voting member of the United States House of Representatives.
Okay, so. They could freely elect 35 members of the lower house, okay, which was called the House of Representatives, okay? They had a Supreme Court and a United States District Court, okay? But, does that mean that they can vote in elections in our country? Does that make them citizens of our country? Okay. No, they're not, right? And we're gonna see that on the next slide, okay. Recall the significance of the Insular cases 1901 to 1903 and their impact on the future of Puerto Rico. Alright, somebody pick up. Go ahead, Jordan.
The Insular cases were a series of opinions by the U.S. Supreme Court about the status of U.S. territories, which answered the new question of whether or not people in newly acquired territories were citizens. The Supreme Court held that full constitutional protection of rights does not automatically extend to all U.S. territories. The new doctrine of territorial incorporation established that the Constitution only fully applied in incorporated territories such as Alaska and Hawaii, which were on a path to statehood.
Okay, who wants to take the next part? Go ahead.
This meant that inhabitants of unincorporated territories such as Puerto Rico lacked constitutional rights and protections. Legal scholars refer to the insular cases as a constitutional justification for colonialism, which allowed the United States to continue its exploitation of the colonial territories in its new American empire.
Okay, so what were we doing here?
Building an empire.
Right,
Being imperialistic.
like, who was? Like, which country was, and we were trying
Like
to,
Spain.
right, and we were trying to do what?
We're trying to
Exploit
stop
them.
them by doing what they were doing.
Alright,
We swore to become.
okay, we're gonna stop right here because it's gonna take y'all a while to do this activity. Okay, so go ahead and get into your groups. Alright. While he's pulling up the instructions, okay, we're doing the effects of imperialism poster. Okay, y'all listen. Okay, it's worth 10 points. Okay, and do not write your lists or your pictures on the poster and pencil. I have matte pencils right here for everybody, okay? And then I'm gonna explain the instructions to you. And everybody has to do a poster.
Everybody or?
Everybody.
You have my contact right with.
You will probably have the same stuff that I'm gonna put to you.
It says, do not write with pencil or pen or.
Okay, and as I said, no posters and pencil, please, because you can't see it. You can either do it here or I have matte pencils over
Create a
there.
poster, create posters for rallying, protesting American. We're creating a
It's based on
poster
everything, I'm gonna tell
for
you.
people rallying.
And right now,
Rally.
okay.
Oh, okay.
Okay, what we're doing, okay, y'all listen, look up here, pay attention please. Okay, we're creating posters. Basically, it says for a rally protesting American imperialism in Cuba, Puerto Rico, the Philippines, and China. Okay, this is to help you better understand the effects of imperialism on colonial peoples. Okay? Next. Alright. Okay, you're in your groups. Okay? And each group is going to represent one of the following: Puerto Rico, Cuba, the Philippines, and China. You will create posters expressing how U.S. imperialism affects the area that you represent. Posters will then be shared with the class, and everyone in the group is responsible for creating a poster. You can use resources such as the PowerPoint textbooks and online sources, so you'll need your laptops. Okay, group one. Group one, you have Puerto Rico. Group two, where's group two? Cuba. Group three, the Philippines. And group four, China. Okay, does everybody understand what you're supposed to be doing?
Could you explain it? Filipino. Miss Vicky? It doesn't count. Could you explain it one more time?
Okay. Yes.
Yes, we've used them a bit, that's about it. We staged a fake fight.
Do we need to go ahead and grab like
Whoever.
the colors and we can store it?
Yes.
Can I use a Sharpie?
Yeah, Philippines.
Okay. What you're gonna do is you're gonna create a poster expressing how U.S. imperialism affects the country that you have. Okay? And then the poster is gonna be shared with the class, and everyone in the group is responsible for creating the poster and sharing their poster with the class. So,
Can I use a pen?
yes, you can use a pen. You can use these matte pencils that I have right here. Anybody want matte pencils?
I'm gonna use a pen.
Anybody want matte pencils?
PowerPoint?
It was very.
Online.
Okay, and like in the other classes, what they did was one person took a positive effect and other people took negative. So you can write, you can do positive, you can do negative, you can do positive, or the other way around.
You want to do positive or negative?
But you all have to agree,
You positive.
okay? Listen up, everybody in your group has to agree, okay? Or not, you understand what I'm saying? You'll have to do, so, okay, so y'all decided it was good. Okay, but then some of y'all might decide it's bad. Okay, so y'all understand what I'm saying?
Right.
Okay, everybody got it?
Wait, then how are we supposed to, one person do positive and the others do negative?
Well, like you can find positive effects and negative effects. You can all do that, but you all just need to have something different written on your posters. And if you have the same thing, some of the same things, that's okay, but I really want you to have some different things because first hour had the same thing and it
Is
was,
this chapter 10?
yes, it's chapter 10, section 3.
Good job.
Okay, let's go Cuba. So what?
Section
Okay,
10,
we gonna have to.
chapter 10, section 3 is where you should be.
Chapter 10?
If you, yes, in chapter 10.
The imperialism.
Yours might, y'all's might be in section 2. Okay, y'all's might be in section 3 or section 4. It could be in both, and y'all's could be in section 3 or 4. Okay, if y'all want a textbook, y'all can use textbooks as well. If you want a textbook, raise your hand and I will bring you a textbook. And remember to put your name on your poster, please. And each person is going to be responsible for presenting what they have on their poster to the class.
Oh,
The Spanish American War.
I can't get past slide 10 for some reason.
So on one hand, our news outlets were very much mine and promoting us to go to war with Spain over Cuba, but we have to.
Do you want a textbook?
Yes, please.
Okay.
My PowerPoint's not working.
Alright.
No.
Y'all will probably be section 2, it could be section 3 too. Anybody else wanna use the textbook?
You know, like how.
It was bad, very bad. Horrible bad.
So we're supposed to
Because your boy, like,
Do y'all understand?
So you want us, do we have to, even though we're making separate
slides,
guides, we have to agree whether imperialism is good or bad on it?
did that to
Well, they
Cuba
have in the
because of
other
us.
classes, but y'all can do different. I mean, if you think it was bad, write why you think it was bad, write negative. If you think it was good, write why you think it was good, okay? Everybody understand? You understand? Okay.
Oh my goodness.
Do y'all understand?
Let's see, man, I could just search it.
Do we? What?
We're protesting.
So, okay, if you think imperialism was bad,
Is it like a poster as in I'm a person in Cuba?
okay, so if you think imperialism was bad, write bad. If you think it was good, you can do both. I had lots of people put both on theirs in the last one.
Okay, so are we just like putting how we felt about it on here?
Just like, right, okay. And right, you know, like, okay. That helped, one effect could have been that they, helped the Filipino rebels, they fought with them to help them win their independence from Spain. That would be a positive effect.
Go up there.
Should we just put it in one, you think, letter?
Some people,
Each of our questions have to be different.
y'all need to write different stuff, yes. Okay, like some people, what they did was they divided their poster up and put positive on one side and negative on the other side. Or you can just put positive or negative, okay?
Okay, but do we all have to do the
Separate
same if it's
reasons.
separate
Yes.
reasons, but do our like good and bad have to be the same, what we all think?
Possibly.
No.
No? Okay.
Do you want me to show you an example from Do you wanna see an example from another class?
Yes, that would help so much.
Okay. Okay, this is one example of how somebody did it. Okay, they didn't finish it, but they put positive and negative. Okay, you don't have to do that, but this is just one example.
We could just do like positive effects and.
Yes, and here's one. And here's one that just did bullet points.
With the fruit.
Okay, we can do just bullet points on
Yes,
that.
you can do just bullet points. Yes. Okay,
So we're not making like an actual.
it's up to you how you wanna do it. Okay, you understand? Okay. Okay, did y'all see this? Okay,
How we're gonna do it different. You're right.
this is one way of doing it. See, that's the other way. Okay.
So we're not doing like protest signs?
But,
We're not doing like protest signs?
no, you're doing this.
You're making a chart basically.
Yes, basically, you can just do bullet points like this one, or you can divide it up like the other one, and put positive on one side, negative on the other side. Or you can just put negative or positive, and do bullet points like this. You can do it any way you wanna do it. This is totally up to you. When your group is finished, raise your hand and let me know. Flash you.
Wow. Very important.
Yes. The fly stopping when I did to give y'all enough time to do
Apparently,
it, because we
that
experimented with the other classes and
During all this
didn't
time,
get
like
through,
all this,
so.
the first gallon
the other
was made, and you know how we
No.
like drink the Spanish?
None of the
Well, like we made a deal with the
No.
Spanish.
Well, they get
Like,
their
a
rights
couple
on
of-
it.
Yeah,
No,
and
they'll
then a
just
couple
present
months
tomorrow.
later, we American made the first machine gun.
But y'all should have
Because
enough time.
Spanish people down with it.
So-
Dude, it's like if you read what it's like, it's like.
Some songs are just like, oh, okay.
So are you doing the positive
Like
Doing
3,000
both, so I guess I'll just do positive.
and not the negatives, I guess?
Yeah.
Are there a lot of negatives?
Yes, yeah. We did kinda stage a fake battle so that we can take over their country.
Oh.
Which led to battle.
Oh, yeah, they then
See,
found
well,
out
right
about
there.
that.
Oh, we did free them from.
Okay.
It's gonna be pretty easy to run after,
You might have the same thing.
Some of the same things, but not just.
I thought like the group.
But don't just copy, don't you do it and then somebody else copies what
Yeah.
you wrote, okay?
Okay, so, could we have like
One.
Yes,
The other do
Uh-huh.
positive and then the other do both.
yes, you can do it that way, it's totally up to you.
Is you have like the same
I don't think I
information,
wrote
but
this bigger.
each member of the group, because we have the same problem, we just do have different takes on each poster about it.
It's totally up to you the way you wanna do it, just make sure it's somehow different and you're not saying the same things.
So don't write the same thing word for word.
Yeah.
Exactly, and some people did that and
No,
no.
don't do that. Look, man, I'm not doing it because I have good handwriting.
You traced it out for yourself.
Yeah,
And then
and
ignored
then
the
that
trace?
sucks. Yeah, leave me alone.
That just confused me. You made the outline and then.
We made a treaty.
Never mind.
Yeah,
And then they were like,
You got a call from a number that kept on coming through.
Let her write a giant con.
Yeah, his is definitely the most complicated.
His?
Yeah,
I have
he's
little
tracing it,
rough-
so.
You just what?
He's sketching it out ways in a big table, so yeah.
Yeah, I can't even think of.
Like I said, he's sketching it out.
That way he doesn't mess up.
I'm not saying mine's gonna look good, it's just.
Oh, no, it's just.
Okay, when your group gets through, raise your hand and let me know.
So we can write down any positive things or?
Hey, don't write about the butcher.
I want to do that maybe worth that.
Alright, so man, looks good.
Which one? I got a lot of good. Probably somebody really good figure.
On my freaking finger.
I don't think I've ever traced it.
Alright, I'm gonna give y'all about 5 more minutes, maybe 6, because we're
Girl,
gonna have to
what?
present. Hopefully y'all will have enough time.
That makes any sense.
Anybody need any questions answered? Y'all understand what y'all are doing? Y'all need any help?
They were basically doing hints so that we could keep the Spanish.
There you go. That's what they did in the Philippines, they basically used the Filipino people.
But it's still not dry.
They used the people.
Yep.
There was prophecy to
It's
take
whatever.
care of them and,
I just did.
they promised to take care of them and provide them with things they could against the use to defeat the Spanish law. And then kind of trying to back from it. I mean, they put in, you know, something like that. They basically used them to fight the Spanish, and then said, okay, you know, you're on your own. In other words, we really didn't care about them. Okay, we just cared about using them. Okay? Okay, you're gonna need to wrap it up, cause we're gonna have to present, so. Y'all finished?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Are y'all finished?
I have like one more time.
Okay. Are y'all finished?
I didn't have
Okay.
enough time to.
Well, of course,
Okay, y'all finished? Y'all need to wrap it up, cause we gotta present, so y'all need to just.
Yeah, I can.
Group one. All the charter don't have to pay attention to
I
it.
yelled at someone last time.
Everybody's got. Oh, yeah, that's what I'm telling y'all, y'all gotta wrap it up. Okay, group one, are y'all ready to go? Okay. Everybody give group one your attention, please. And you tell what country you chose. I mean, what country you have. Okay? Okay, talk to them.
Establish a civil government, establish executive council, House of Representatives, and a Supreme Court, and granted U.S. citizenship to anyone born in Puerto Rico on or after April 25th of 1898. It also established a Bill of Rights.
Okay, so that's
So
positive.
There are some positive.
Okay.
I got some negative effects. The first one is the military occupation of Puerto Rico was one of the most selfish acts by the U.S. as it only happened due to Americans' imperialistic interest in the resources and political power that they would have gained by controlling Puerto Rico. They used Puerto Rico mainly as an outlet for excess manufactured goods in the beginning. And before the U.S. invaded, the Puerto Ricans had Spanish citizenships granting them certain civil rights under the Spanish law.
So do y'all think imperialism in Puerto Rico was good or bad? Or both?
Yeah, definitely both.
Okay.
For their own independence, no, but for the growth of their country and actually being able to get out of some of the rule of like other European nations, then yeah, I think it was.
Okay.
Because if they're part of the U.S., then that makes them much less likely to, you know, other countries mess with them.
Okay. Alright, thank you. Group two. Now what country you had?
Cuba in second.
Wait till you get up here and then. Okay, group two.
We have Cuba, and I titled my poster, American imperialism is killing Cuba, because my first one was America took over Cuba's economy, which left the Cuban people with no money. And then before the America came, they had an idea that they would come in, the Cubans welcomed Americans, but you know, they took over their economy, took all their money. So this left most Cuban people with no food, and there's mass starving, and a lot of people died from it.
Okay, so that was a negative effect, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Sorry.
I have both negative and positive. One positive is that they were out of the military control of Spain, but they were still being controlled for natural resources and strategic reasons against Spain. Another positive would be that America promised that they would be a sovereign state more than a part of the US, I think. But two other negatives would be it would still be under imperialism and it would be, used against Spain.
Okay. Jordan.
Okay, so here at the bottom, I have this American imperialism is bad for the Cubans, and I have some negatives here,
Okay.
no positives. So how the U.S. helped? Wait, they didn't. They didn't want to help. They wanted to protect their money. All the American government did was make a decision based on what the press had put out, and they never really cared about the Cubans. They cared about the plantations that they had invested in. How the U.S. hurt Cuba. They began the war with Spain, the Spanish-American War, which caused Spain to send over the General the Butcher, who relocated more than 300,000 Cubans into camps where they were starved and exposed to sickness and disease. And all the while, the American press kept on encouraging the war effort, which only made it worse for the Cubans.
Okay, so y'all think imperialism was bad for Cuba?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
Sorry, Mr. Chairman.
thank you. Grade 3.
I thought she was gonna
Hey,
come through.
tell what country you have.
We have weather from the Philippines.
Talk.
The pros were that they were free of the Spanish rule and the Americans granted the Philippines independence. And the cons were that the Americans used the Filipino people to teach the Spanish, and that they secretly had a treaty with the Spanish which halted the Revolutionary Army from getting in the battle.
Okay.
Okay, negatives is that they staged a fake battle and they used the Philippine people.
Okay.
Some of the positives about the war were that Spanish was forced out from the Philippines, and that the Filipino leader of the Revolutionary War there was transported to the Philippines from Hong Kong.
Okay, so was imperialism bad for the Philippines or good? Or bad?
I say it was kind of both, but I
Okay.
think it was better since the Philippines were granted independence since the
Okay.
Spanish were heavily oppressive on them.
Okay. All right, thank you. Group 4. So what country you have?
We have China.
Y'all listen.
Okay, so some of the positive effects were that it introduced education in the region and new transportation systems, and the negatives were killed many Christian missionaries and Chinese Christian converts, and formed many secret societies to rid their country.
For mine, I have both positive and negatives. Some of the negatives are China has weakened more and foreign invasion or intervention, and they had carved out spheres of influence with special rights. Some of the positives were protection. Some of the positives from U.S. imperialism were protection of economic interests, shared trading opportunities, and they had open door policy, which made no single nation have a trading monopoly on China. But China hated the policy, so they created secret societies to rid China of the foreign devils.
Okay.
My positive was imperialist nations could create an open door policy of sharing equitable trading opportunities with each other in China, and the growth of the United States economy depended on exports to foreign markets. And the negative was the Chinese people formed secret societies to rid their country of foreign devils, and they killed many Chinese Christian converts.
Okay, so y'all think imperialism was bad for China? Or good? Okay. Alright, thank you. Okay, so what did we learn from this?
American imperialism is not good. It appears to not be good on other countries or territories.
Okay, go ahead.
I think the main takeaway is that usually what the main trend you see with all of these is that it brings economic like growth to these places because it's become connected to us, but it always loses like the people always like get the short end of the stick
Right.
because they always get the like civil rights stripped from them. You know, usually they are converted to like all because Americans. One of the main reasons they did this is because they had this like cultural superiority complex, thinking that America is better than them because we're America and all that. So it's kind of like even though they weren't saying that to them, that's what they were doing going into these countries. In the back of their mind, you know what they were thinking is that they want to make them more American. So
Okay, so what were we doing here? We were trying to do what? Build what?
kind of like build our economy,
Build our power,
build our
not our empire, our influence.
There you go. We were building an empire during this time, right?
I said power.
I said empire.
I said
Okay.
power. I didn't mean to.